Google has come out and said it doesn't matter if you use AI or not. Everyone is coming out and using AI for their content creation. I know one person who says they're going to create 100 blogs per month, but it goes back to, is it user-friendly, first of all? Because that's what Google wants to see. And then second thing is, are you actually writing content that's worth seeing, and is it like an expert sort of topic on it? So people are just going, they're writing anything on ChatGPT, copy, paste, and then putting some sort of picture on it, and then that's it. You can't do that. What you can do though is use it to guide yourself when you're creating content. Another thing that I've always found is, when you add your own opinion to something, it goes more viral. No one likes to see what a robot writes, but when you put your 2 cents in, then people actually listen and people actually read. Writing for anything really, you want to put your own opinion into whatever you're writing about.
I just got back from D2C Newsletter's C-Suite Mastermind in Las Vegas, and I gotta tell you that this room of 100 D2C and retail operators were just buzzing about TapCart mobile shopping apps. A lot of the brands in the room are already using TapCart, and the ones who weren't are thinking about it, because a mobile app is going to improve your retention. It's also going to allow you to diversify your distribution strategies, which has never been more important. And more than that, your customers are just going to love it. Mobile app users have proven to be bigger diehard fans of your brand. They've got higher conversion rates, revenue per session, and LTV compared to users that come to your web-based store. Just like fashion brand Princess Polly, who launched their app in 2019 using TapCart and now consistently see 20 to 25% of their revenue coming from this channel. It's their second highest revenue channel after their online store. With TapCart, it's incredibly easy to build, launch, and maintain your mobile apps. So to learn more, go right now to tapcart.com/DTC. That's tapcart.com/DTC. Tell them Eric sent you.
It's all killer, no filler. I'm Eric. This is my first week back from Las Vegas, so I'm a little bit foggy, but I'm really excited to be here with Ismail and Saul from our Google team. Pilothouse recently brought Ismail on as the SEO technical lead, as more and more people are thinking about ways to maximize their web presence and pay less for paid traffic. It was a huge topic of discussion at our event in Las Vegas. So we wanted to just kind of do a little overview with Ismail and talk, first of all, Ismail, about some of the things that you see, some of the people that kind of, the websites that you audit. What are some of the common errors you see people making with SEO?
Yeah, for sure. First off, I just want to say, excited to be on the pod. Fan of everything that you guys have done so far. And I want to see how I can contribute to that. Answering that question, definitely one of the things that I've seen through all the technical audits that I've done in the past is just the fact that people are overlooking the technical side of SEO. Now, the technical SEO is very important. It's something that we overlook because it's not that the prettiest. It's not the part where we get to play around with the content and things like that. But definitely when it comes to a technical SEO, you want to look at all the different points that Google lays out, all the different rules that they want for you to show your content on when it comes to ranking on organic and things like that.
Now I'm an absolute noob here, as we can tell by the fact that I just set up my search console after 3 years of running this business a couple days ago on your advice. And really, we've just sort of flown by the seat of our pants. We've grown a lot through paid. But what are these technical issues? Like, what are the top technical issues that people aren't doing right?
Sure. I guess it depends on the industry that you're in. So, for example, if you're in e-commerce, something that I always see all the time is site structure. And what I mean by that is a lot of the times people have like duplicate content. So for example, let's say you're selling like wooden chairs, okay? Now, wooden chairs would go under 2 categories. It would go under wood, right? And it would go under chairs. So then now you would have the same product, but under 2 different categories. And because of that, Google's going to look at it and it's going to say, okay, these guys have a duplicate content right here. So which one should we show on our Google search page? So that's actually something very common, especially if you're using Shopify as a platform. So that's something that we always look at when we do these audits. We run it through a website called SiteLiner. It shows all the different sort of duplicate content that comes up, and then we analyze that and we try to pinpoint, okay, which one do we want to show? And then we use things called like canonical tags and things like that. Now, I don't want to get too technical, but let's just leave it at that. That's definitely one.
Don't hesitate.
Yeah.
This is the geekiest podcast you'll ever be on. And I'm always learning on this as well. So tell me, what are canonical tags?
For sure. So canonical tags are basically a hint telling Google, okay, this is the page I want to show on their search page. So if you have two pages that, let's say there's a blue version of it and a red version of it, okay, maybe the blue version gets more traffic, so I want to show this product on that search page. So I'm going to hint a canonical tag to the blue page from the red page. So it's very important that we do this so that we don't get that error of duplicate content. And then another key factor, you asked about like what are common issues. Another thing that I always see all the time is 404 issues. 404 are basically when somebody goes onto that page or that website, they're not able to see the page because of it's either been discontinued if it's an e-commerce store, or the page has just been completely removed. And we forgot to basically re-update that link. So something that I've seen in the past that's worked for a lot of e-commerce brands is having that 404 page. You can actually show like similar products to that product that got discontinued, or what you can do is you can actually capture email right there on that page and just be like, hey, okay, we know you're looking for this product, but once this product comes back into stock, we'll email you and we'll shoot you an email once it comes back in stock. And just like that, now you've increased customer engagement and all the other different metrics that it comes to increasing sales and things like that.
Plugging the holes in the bucket. And Saul, I'm interested from your perspective, who's made a career on the paid side of Google. First of all, is there what thinking went into diversifying our services into SEO? I think it's pretty obvious, I guess. And then also, how do you see how does SEO play with the paid side as far as you're concerned?
So our first thought was, how can we help our clients do better on paid? A lot of the stuff that helps you rank better on SEO, especially technical things, like Ismail was saying, along with schema data, having your H1s, your meta tags, all of that. First of all, schema data is very important for product recognition on shopping for e-commerce, and then H1s, meta tags are very important for quality scores on not only on shopping but on search as well, right? If Google doesn't know what the page is about, because like Ismail was saying, you're gonna get dinged on quality scores, which things like it increases your cost per click, and it has an effect on CPCs, right? So making sure that our page quality scores were higher for our clients will immediately reflect in lower CPCs, which reflects in lower CPMs. Cost per acquisition. So that was the first thought, just being able to improve that side of things, because it does affect SEM. You always get the opposite question. You always get the question from clients, so if I advertise on Google, will my organic rankings increase? The answer from Google is no. But by having a well-structured site for your page, you're going to get more users on your website, which will buy something from your website. Google is going to consider that your website is relevant because people are staying on the site instead of bouncing out. And over time, your organic rankings will benefit from the better SEM play, but it's not because you're spending, but because you're spending and improving the pages for your paid traffic. So that was the first reason why we started it. We thought it was complementary to the very good work we do on paid already, and that way we can help our clients overall, right? Like we're always getting those questions on the organic side and say, well, we just need to help them with that as well. So.
Very cool. Ismail, can you just talk a little bit about your background in SEO? What brought you here?
Sure. So I actually graduated from a business management degree. So I played around in that field for a bit, and then I sort of wanted to have like my own career where I had more control over, not just like sit in an office and just do something that's not really essential to a business, you could say. And then I came across digital marketing, and honestly, I just fell in love with how you can grow a business through the digital side. and then just like implementing your own strategies and things like that through SEO. So, I started off from the bottom from my internship, learned all the different tools, and then started making my way up from a SEO account manager, worked in plenty of different agencies, and that brought me over here. Also, I just want to add on to that question where Saul added, one of the things that, people always overlook, and this is just like in general digital marketing, is this funnel, this marketing funnel that we have. Because, SEM, what it does, it targets that bottom of the funnel, that transactional, those keywords that are going to make that sale. And what SEO does, it targets that top of the funnel. So, informational keywords, how-to guides, top 10 list, things like this, listicles. So when you, combine the two, SEO brings the person onto the website, and then let's say they leave, now you have a remarketing strategy for that SEO through that organic traffic. And then at the same time, now they know about your brand. So when they see that ad, now they're going to be able to say, hey, I might just buy from this brand because I read a blog, they're sort of like an expert on this topic. And that is so crucial in combining those two strategies together. And that's why I think like Pilothouse or working with really an agency is so special, because you get both sides of the ball.
It's like Inception too, right? Because it feels like their idea, when you've ranked to be the number one search there or whatever, it's on their side kind of going into it, so that then when they get targeted with more intent-based keywords later, they're already warmed up. I wanted to ask too, just about when it comes to things like metadata, H1 tags, these other technical aspects. What's your rule of thumb there? Like we just did a podcast, All Killer No Filter, last week, where we talked about how in ads we actually have some statistically significant data that shows by spamming adjectives when you're describing a product just with like commas, like actually helps convert the ad a little bit. And I'm curious, like, how do you balance spamming keywords into these technical things versus just being very clear and concise? Like, any advice for how to build out these tags?
It always comes down to how user friendly is your content. If it's getting read by a user, they shouldn't read the word like blue t-shirt 100 times on that page. That's just not user friendly. That doesn't come out as readable. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're obviously inputting that keyword in a few times. And there's a lot of tools that can help you when it comes to content creation and things like that. Surfer SEO or SEMrush and things like that. But also, the other thing that you want to look at is, are you targeting semantic keywords? So keywords that are related to that product that you want to target. So for example, for e-commerce, one of the main things that I always see is in your product title, you want to have that main keyword first, then like a dash or a line separating, and then the second keyword, so like a semantic keyword, and then another dash, and then the brand keyword, so your brand name or the product name. So that's like a very useful sort of guideline for an e-commerce site. Very important to have it all very organized, and at the same time, you want to target those correct keywords. Yeah.
Cool. So we've got. Does that cover basically? Is that what we conceive of as technical SEO? So all the tags, and then this ongoing, just making sure your data is structured the correct way. What else goes into technical SEO?
Sure. Saul sort of hinted at it, was schema markup. This is something that's huge, within the past few years, just because Google in its search pages has adapted so much. Now with AI, they're coming with Google Bard, so it's another feature that they're coming out with that's going to be on that search page. And what schema markup is, it's basically telling Google, hey, not only do I have content on this, like text content on this page, but I also have a video, I also have ratings, I also have a product, I also have prices, I also have 5-star reviews. So if you're like an e-commerce site, you want to mention all of these things on the back end to Google and letting them know, hey, I have all of these things on my page. So then that way, when people go onto that search page, they can see all of these things. One thing I wanted to mention also, images, right? People always like just think, okay, we could just place any image. It looks like a cool image. We place it at the top of the page, and we'll just get ranked for it. Last week we actually just did an audit, and so I compared the last 3 months to the previous 3 months, and they lost 250,000 impressions. Because why? They updated one page where they removed an image, and that image was getting so much ranking. So that's something that we don't look at. We don't look at the rankings for images. We don't look at the rankings for videos, and it goes back to that schema markup again. Like, we want to tell Google we have images there, and then once we catch those like sort of drop in rankings, be like, okay, what did we change? All right, let's go back. Google liked that image, so let's put it back up.
I think like I look at our analytics like, I don't know, like once a month, but I don't always know exactly what I'm looking for. I could see how in an organization you could make some changes that you think look great and then maybe not even notice what you've done on the other side of it. Like, so you're saying they could have got away with that design change if they had done the proper schema markup?
Well, not only that, just letting them know that we've updated our images, but at the same time, I always say, look at what's ranking right now. So if Google likes a certain type of image, maybe it's like a illustration, or maybe it's an actual real picture of something, then we want to also have a similar picture to what's ranking number 1 or number 2. So what they did was they went the opposite. Like, it was an actual picture of the product, but then they made an illustration, and then so now it's like, okay, we don't like this. We don't like how this picture looks, so we're going to rank you lower.
Okay, so that sounds like the technical side of things. And the problem, some of the challenges I've had with SEO and working with external firms is how the content has to come from us in a lot of ways. We're a content company, we're a media company. We worked with someone that spit out a bunch of briefs and the content didn't sound like us, didn't feel like us. So how does it work? Does the Pilothouse service really focus on technical SEO, or does it dovetail into content creation as well?
So we want to focus, and it's incredible the number of, just so far, since we started, basically every Google client or every Google Meta client that we have in Pilothouse is getting Ismail to look at their technical SEO first to see what we can find and we can help. There hasn't been a single one that has been good. I would say, no, I was going to say perfect, but no, it was not good. And it's surprising how many, like, we make our money from direct to consumer marketing, from advertising on the internet. And I think SEO kind of got a bad rep because of all of those agencies. So people don't really want to pay attention to it. It kind of got this, it's snake oil type thing. So people don't really worry about it, especially entrepreneurs that go into DTC. And we got, there hasn't been a single audit that comes out, I would say, with a pass. Just being very honest. But it's good that we're finding it, because that means there's a lot of potential, right? If they're already doing very well, if they fix these issues, they're going to automatically do better. We help with content. A part of what we're helping people now is fixing those issues. If they don't have someone in-house to fix those issues, we can do it for them. And then the second part is Ismail can work on a content strategy. We don't write the content, but we can tell them these are the things that you can rank for. This is the specific keywords and themes that you can focus on, so that you start doing better organically, and then you can bring more people to your website to make you more money. This is how to do it. Now you need to create the content. We're not using either ChatGPT or a real person to write content for people, because that we're not interested in doing that. For you, people know their business better, and I think that with our guidance, they can write their content better than what we can pretend to.
Makes sense.
Right?
But we can help point you in the right direction based on what we're seeing. And Ismail, like what would you say? You kind of gave us a little bit of a breakdown of where you thought we could be going. What's your philosophy when it comes to content?
Yeah, for sure. So I think Saul nailed it there, that if I'm going to create content for different industries, I'm not an expert in every single industry that we work with. Like, for example, beauty or something like that, right? I don't know much about makeup products and things like this.
You have a beautiful beard.
Yeah, thank you. So, one of the things that, what we sit down as, but what I do know is I know how to rank that content. So it's so important that what happens is I look at all the different keywords that we are able to rank for. And then also just looking at what is actually reachable. And what I mean by that is, for example, we want to rank for something like a black T-shirt, for example. This is something that's going to be very hard because the people who are at the top of the search page are going to be those top e-commerce stores, Walmart, Target, whoever it may be. So it's very hard to outrank those stores. So what we want to do is we want to actually go after the correct keyword. And what I mean by that is target a long tail keyword, which is basically like 3 or 4 words more. And I compile a list of that has a lot of volume, so a lot of search monthly volume, and at the same time, it's easy to rank for, judging on the top 10. And then the last thing that we want to look at is how many backlinks do we actually need to rank for those keywords. Now, a lot of people say, you don't need backlinks and things like this. That's true for those, long tail keywords. But as you get to those harder keywords with more volume, then you definitely need backlinks. So again, we look at that. Then another thing that we look at is how are we going to rank everything? So one of the things that Google has come out in the previous years is something called EEAT, which is basically looking for expert on like different sort of topics. So you want to create as much content around one sort of keyword. And then once you're able to do that, Google's going to be like, hey, these guys are an expert on this topic. So that's something that I would sit down with their team on and be like, okay, what kind of keywords can we rank for? What kind of keywords do we want to rank for? Is it even possible? And then making sure that we're internal linking everything. And then I also, hint at some backlink strategies and things like that, because that definitely is one of the tougher parts of SEO. So definitely having some strategies when it comes to that definitely helps.
And when it comes to like looking for like what, so let's go SEM rush. I guess every different platform has a different scoring mechanism, but when you're talking low competition keywords, what threshold of scores are you talking about? I know that 100 is the most and 0 is the least. What competition scores are you trying to bite off with these?
So it depends on the site that we're working at. If it's like a brand new site, I always say under 20. That's like the highest range that I would go for. And again, you want to go for content that's like relatable to your product. Don't go for anything just because we see that has a low keyword difficulty. But at the same time, like there's so many cases out there that say that those tools that it could say it has 0 search volume, but when we actually rank for them, it gets us a lot of clicks and impressions. So don't like blindly follow SEMrush or Ahrefs numbers, but rather think, is my user actually going to be interested in this content or in this keyword that we're going for? And then how would you know that is by looking at your competitors and things like that. Are they ranking for similar terms? And then that would definitely give you a better strategy when it comes to targeting keywords.
And Saul and I, we go back and forth on this all the time. Ever since I told him that AI is going to replace Google in 3 weeks or whatever I said, bombacious like that. But I love the position that Google's in, having the best AI in the world, but having it potentially jeopardize their search business. I think that's super interesting. But what I want to ask you about is AI content. We just had a talk at our mastermind from someone, my friend Iman from Craftly.ai, and she kind of built that business by realizing that her early access to ChatGPT or whatever it was back in 2021, 2020 was able to rank, and she did huge numbers on SEO using AI content. I want to know, like, what's your position on AI content now? Has the game changed? Are these platforms detecting it and penalizing it in some ways?
So Google has come out and said it doesn't matter if you use AI or not. So everyone is coming out and using AI for their content creation. I know one person who says they're going to create 100 blogs per month, which is like something ridiculous if you're to write that by hand. So people are just coming out and just creating content left, right, and center. But it goes back to, is it user-friendly, first of all? Right? Because that's what Google wants to see. And then second thing is, are you actually writing content that's, worth seeing, and is it like an expert sort of topic on it? So people are just they're writing anything on ChatGPT, copy, paste, boom, and then putting some sort of picture on it, and then that's it. You can't do that. What you can do though is use it to guide yourself when you're creating content. And that's so important. Like Google's going to come up with Bard. Right now I'm on their wait list, and I think it's like a few weeks until they come out to the public. And that's their basically AI version of ChatGPT. Now, everyone knows that, or most people know that ChatGPT, when it comes out with whatever answer it comes up with, it's not the most accurate. And I think that's how Google is combating ChatGPT, is they want to have content not only done by AI, but it wants to be accurate. So that's something that when we are, as content writers, when we're writing that, or that's something that we need to remember is, okay, Google's going to rank content that's accurate. So just don't copy and paste from AI, but rather, put in your own words and make sure that. Another thing that I've always found is, when you add your own opinion to something, it goes more viral. No one likes to see what a robot writes, but when you put your 2 cents in, then people actually listen and people actually read. So that's so important as any content writer, or writing for anything really. You want to put your own opinion into whatever you're writing about.
I think that's something we're exploring a bunch of AI content for our SEO. And I think one of my ideas is just to make sure we always have commentary from either our team or from Pilothouse's team or from someone else, a brand that we can source, like an authoritative brand in the space that we've interviewed on the podcast, that we can get their take on various things as well. So it's good to hear that might help us. We're short on time here, but I wanted to ask, we just, after hearing this SEO talk that was given in Las Vegas, my head of content came to me and just said, okay, we're doing this. We're figuring this out. She's now, going to absolutely run at it. And I have this idea, okay, we spend tens of thousands of dollars a month on user acquisition, but maybe if we could spend $10,000 on SEO and then spend, $15,000 less on our user acquisition because we'll be driving more users. My long-winded question is, how do you position benchmarks to clients when it comes to making these changes? I guess everything depends. Everything depends on where they're at and where they're going. But what should brand owners be striving for when it comes to share of traffic coming to their website from SEO optimizations?
Sure. Forecasting is so hard, is very difficult when it comes to organic traffic, just because you don't know what's going to happen. Like, for example, 2 weeks ago, we just had an update from Google. And because of that update, all the rankings just shifted. So what you might have ranked for it's not going to rank for anymore. So whenever an SEO comes out and says, hey, you're going to rank for this in 6 months, you can never take their word for it, because it's not up to them. It's up to Google's algorithm and things like that. So we can never guarantee, but what we can do is we can show them a strategy which sort of is going to get them to that benchmark, or going to get them to that mark. And I think once you start creating content, and you start seeing that first couple of content start to rank, then it's like, okay, we see this start ranking, okay, let's start creating more and more. And the thing about SEO, why I like SEO over SEM, is the fact that SEO is long term, right? It's something that's going to be going for a long time. It's going to stay on your website. You're going to be able to rank for that for a very long time. And at the same time, you own that. Whereas, if you're going for the SEM sort of strategy, now, cost per click and things like that, this is going up and up every year. So it's getting very expensive for, companies. So you want to, again, use both of those strategies and start from now, because, the more you wait, the harder it's going to be to rank for different keywords.
Any final words there on that, Saul?
No, I think Ismail said everything. Just highlighting that the importance of both sides, and how.
What do you like better, though?
Oh, I like money. I like money.
Yeah,
and
you like spending it too, then.
And that's why, I like spending it and also getting returns. So that's why we got Ismail.
What are conversion rates like between organic and paid traffic generally? I guess it varies all the time. If you found it organically, are you more likely to convert than if you came from an ad?
It depends on the channel, right? Like paid search, organic, a good campaign will have about 2% conversion rate because it's paid traffic, but it depends. An overall website e-commerce should have, a healthy overall website should have at least 2% conversion rate overall, like from all traffic. And that's another thing that we're kind of working on with some of our clients. We see some sites with less than 1% conversion rates, that if we just got them, from 0.67 conversion rate to 1, that's almost doubling their revenue, right? So how can we get there? Some of that stuff that affects SEO is also affecting conversion rates, which is things like time on site and things like that. So.
Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. I look forward to checking back in on SEO. We know it's a popular topic on the on the podcast. So if you're listening right now and you want to, just send me a note and tell me if you like this SEO content. I think you will. And of course, if you want to work with Pilothouse, get to work with these jokers. It'd be fun. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks for listening to today's episode. If you're not getting the D2C newsletter, you can subscribe for free at directtoconsumer.co. And if you want to learn more about Pilothouse's all-killer, no-filler services, take off to pilothouse.co. I'm Eric Dick, and this has been the D2C Podcast. We'll see you next time.